Welcome to AG's Ace. Today we are going to talk about the duo of Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane. Two very good test batsmen going through a terrible patch, have been dropped from the two forthcoming tests against Sri Lanka at home, and there is a big buzz around them. There is a very strong opinion that their careers might be getting over. Of course, the BCCI says that the door is open for them. They are playing in the Ranji. Ajinkya Rahane has already hammered 100 for Mumbai in the Ranji Trophy match. But very honestly, for them to claw back into the test team under these circumstances is going to be very tough. Will they be able to achieve the mission impossible or not is the question. And that is something that we need to examine in this take. Now, first of all, former cricketer Ajay Jadeja has reacted to them basically saying that they weren't treated right. They were let go in a manner when India's test team is on the decline. So it's as if they've been made into two scapegoats, that the badge of India not doing well in test cricket has been pinned on their forehead, and Ajay Jadeja doesn't like that. Sunil Gavaskar is more precise in his thinking, and he says that let's look at the numbers. That against South Africa, Rahane made 136 runs in 6 innings. Pujara got 124. Not enough runs. And BCCI had basically conveyed to them through the team management that runs are what is required. And they both failed the acid test. Now, in this year, as it is, the test matches are going to be very limited. 2 tests are coming up, like I said, against Sri Lanka. 1 against England will also happen. And then the rest is all about the T20 World Cup, ODIs and what have you. So the opportunity for these two players to make a comeback will be even rare. Now let's look at their age. Pujara is 34, Rahane is 33. According to me, they're pretty young, and there have been instances where players much, much older than them have gone on and even retired at the age of 39. So that is the plus point in their favor, but that is not going to be enough unless and until they do something dramatically brilliant in the Ranji Trophy matches and force their way in. They have to, as they say, break the door down. Otherwise, this is not going to happen. There is a pressure of younger players like never before. So the younger players are breathing down their neck. Who are they? Hanuma Vihari, Shreyas Iyer, Mayank Agarwal, and Shubman Gill. They are all good names, and they're doing well, and they are really pushing hard to retain their side. So faced with that, these two gentlemen will have that much of a far more difficult time. Now, Pujara, if you remember, was a natural successor to Rahul Dravid the Wall, who is, strangely enough, the coach now of the Indian team. And Rahane was playing a more similar role to what VVS Lakshman and Saurav Ganguly did at that point in time. They both have tremendous experience. Pujara has played 95 test matches. Rahane has played 82 test matches. Now, when you talk about a comeback, a classic name comes to my mind, and that is Jimmy Amarnath, aka Mohinder Amarnath. He was the master of the comeback in his time. He had a problem with the short ball. He got hit on the head once. I was watching that match. Sickeningly enough, he fell. But he never gave up. And more intelligently, he reworked his technique. He also once wore a bowler hat. And that was talked about. Please remember, that was the time when the headgear was missing. So people like him and Gavaskar had to face the brunt of short pitch bowling. But Jimmy Amarnath staged a comeback, and his name is taken with great respect. A similar example is G.R. Vishwanath, aka Vishy, a tremendous player, but he, when he played against Pakistan, against the Imran Khan-led side in 1982, he had a pretty rough time. He lost his form and never could come back. He played around 91 test matches. So loss in form is something that can be overcome, but for a player who is in his mid-30s in this modern day and age, you've got to see that what are you pitted against? And when does that loss of form come? For Pujara and Rahane, it probably came at the worst time when Virat Kohli has seen a dip in form. And because they were consistently failing at the top, so there was huge pressure on Rishabh Pant and the lower batting order. And that came in for notice. Not many people would say anything about Virat Kohli, although he's had a It's been almost 2 years since he hit 100, but he's a great, great player. He's done a lot for Indian Test cricket. I'm not going to go into that. Stick to these two gentlemen. Okay, let's talk about the glory days. Rahane, if you remember, and you should remember, that a year ago he led India against Australia. He hit 100 at Melbourne and was the architect of a tremendous win at the Gabba. And that has been described as one of the greatest test wins. So there was no Kohli. There were a couple of others who were missing because of injury, and Rahane led the side. What a tremendous job he did. Pujara also played in 2 series wins against Australia. Took a lot of body blows, and his style is different. He likes to wear down the fast bowler. He doesn't flinch. So he showed a lot of grit and courage. That should never be forgotten in this whole story. Now, Rahane, what I thought, made a very interesting reference later, in fact, recently, about the Gabba test. He said that a certain gentleman took a lot of credit for what Rahane had done. And that is interesting because he said that the strategy, everything else I did, but I'm a quiet man. So there was something else, someone else who took the credit. Who was that someone else? All fingers point towards Coach Ravi Shastri, but he wasn't named. Now, when it comes to Pujara, in 2012, the classic example can be given, Pujara and Rahane, that Lakshman and Dravid, they retired together from the Adelaide Test in 2012. That was their last Test match. Lakshman was 37 years of age. Dravid was 39 years of age. So if you recall that, if you take that and compare it to Pujara and Rahane, age is on their side. They can come back, and the only way for them to come back is to pile up the runs in the Ranji Trophy, hope for the best. And like I said, it is still going to be very, very tough under these present conditions with younger players breathing down their neck. It will be very, very tough. But can they do it is the question. Thanks for watching AG's.